The story opens inside a buzzing high school, where a quiet girl named Dion sits alone, drifting into thoughts of her long-lost brother. Her daydream shatters when a classmate bursts through the door, breathless and dramatic, announcing that the cutest guy ever just arrived in the main office. And he's a third year. Dion freezes. She already knows exactly who that is. The scene shifts as she recalls the moment her world flipped. 10 years ago, everyone believed her brother died in a plane crash along with their parents. But somehow he survived. When he walked back into their lives, Dion couldn't even breathe. Their grandfather cried on sight. And when her brother looked at her, soft smile, steady eyes, he simply asked if she was his little sister, Dion. Yeah, that's one way to skip small talk. Her memory fades as reality slams back in. A group of girls crowd around her desk, demanding she hand over her gym uniform. Dion tries to reason with them, explaining she won't have anything to wear. But the group's ringleader, a loud blonde menace everyone mentally nicknames Blondezilla, isn't here for logic. She makes a scene, so big half the classroom turns to stare. Then Blondezilla snaps and smacks Dion on the head, threatening her to cooperate. Even the bystanders look away, pretending they don't see anything. Dion swallows the humiliation and gives in. The room stays silent, and that silence says everything. Meanwhile, in third-year class 2, the girls practically swoon when the new transfer student walks in. The teacher says he's lived overseas for years and asks everyone to help him settle in. The jealous guys groan, the bullies smirk, and every shy kid in the room immediately regrets not brushing their hair this morning. The teacher points him toward the empty seat in the back. As he walks, a red-haired kid named Jae-hong eyes him with pure annoyance. The big guy behind Jae-hong signals him, and Jae-hong sticks out his foot, trying to trip the newcomer. But the new guy stops cold, like he saw it coming before it happened. Jae-hong snarls. Somehow, his perfect timing still failed. The transfer student, named Jin, just shoots Jae-hong a look sharp enough to cut the air. He doesn't say a word. The scene flashes to Jin's past. A senior officer warns him not to start fights once he returns to Korea. Jin sighs, answering like a soldier analyzing a battlefield. The senior stares at him like he accidentally adopted a war veteran instead of a student. Finally, he clarifies. He's not worried about Jin getting hurt. He's worried Jin might hurt someone else. Back in the present, Jin keeps his calm. He walks past the bullies with a peaceful smile when the teacher checks on him. Jae-hong laughs under his breath, convinced Jin is just scared. Jin finally sits, and the kid beside him introduces himself as Young-chan Park. Jin introduces himself as Ijin Yu. Young-chan discreetly warns him that Jae-hong and another guy named Ijin Yu are the troublemakers of the class. Jin takes note, thanking him. Young-chan, relieved he's not stuck next to another jerk, offers help with anything he needs. Class starts. The math teacher drones on at the board. Some students take notes. Some sleep. Some scroll on their phones. Jin's gaze drifts to the window. Kids playing in the sunlight outside. His mind slips back to years of mercenary missions. Rain, mud, explosions, fear. But here, in this quiet classroom, everything is still. Peaceful. Almost unreal. After school, students pour out of the building. Dion spots Jin waiting for her. She jumps, surprised he came. He says he wanted to walk her home, but if she has plans, she can go on her own. She immediately insists she doesn't. He smiles lightly, and the two siblings head out together. Their walk is painfully awkward. Jin finally asks if she feels weird too. She denies it, flustered, but he laughs softly and says he feels awkward as well. Dion relaxes a little. He explains he was 9 when the crash happened. He barely remembers anything about their family. She was 7, so she probably doesn't remember much either. Dion stays quiet, because he's right. Then voices echo around the corner. Dion stiffens. They run into the same girls who bullied her earlier. One of them spots Dion walking with Jin and immediately starts teasing her about being on a date. When Dion blurts out that he's her brother, the bully laughs in disbelief. Jin quietly asks if she's a friend. Dion timidly says they're in the same class. The bully laughs again and calls Dion a loser, making fun of her right in front of him. Jin's stare turns icy. A guy sitting with the bullies gets annoyed by Jin's glare. He stands up, warning Jin to watch himself. The bully girl eggs him on, telling him to handle it. Because nothing says confidence like sending someone else to fight your battles. The bulky guy storms toward Jin. Jin steps in front of Dion protectively, sizing him up like he's analyzing a threat. The guy stands too close, too careless, with every vital point exposed, a rookie mistake. Jin breathes out slowly. Major Kang's warning echoes in his head. Don't fight. Don't hurt anyone. He turns away, but the bulky guy grabs him by the collar and lifts a hand to slap him. Dion panics and rushes in, pleading for them to stop. She explains Jin grew up overseas and doesn't know how things work here. The bully girl laughs, enjoying every second. The guy snaps that he doesn't care. Seeing his sister tremble, terrified, voice shaking, something inside Jin ignites. His patience breaks. He grabs the guy's wrist. One twist. The guy yelps in pain, surprised how quickly the situation flips. Jin drops his bag, shrugs off his coat, and gently covers Dion's face with it. He tells her to wait. It'll only take a minute. The bulky guy charges. Jin spins smoothly and slaps him across the face, just one strike, but enough to send the guy flying to the ground. Blood spraying as he collapses. The whole group freezes. Even the tough girl looks like she's reconsidering every life choice that led her to this moment. Jin sighs, disappointed he broke his promise not to fight. But honestly, this guy practically begged for it. The remaining thug hesitates, suddenly very unsure if he wants to become the next cautionary tale. And that's how Jin's first day back home ends, with a reminder that even peace has its limits. Out in the countryside, under a harsh sun, soldiers run drills across a dusty training field. Major Kang stands with arms crossed, watching them push through exhaustion. A fellow soldier walks up and quietly reminds him, it's Jin's first day of school today. Kang goes silent for a moment. For 6 months, he drilled Jin on how to live a normal life, how not to treat every hallway like a war zone. He worries Jin won't adapt, but there's also pride in his eyes. He believes the kid will make it. Yeah, about that, the bullies would probably disagree right now. Back in the city, that belief is getting tested hard. One of the thugs lies unconscious on the ground, eyes rolled back. The other is doubled over, gasping. Jin steps forward, calm but terrifying, as the remaining lackey shakes in place. In one clean motion, Jin drives his fist into the second guy's gut. The thug launches backward and slams into the pavement, completely out. The blonde ringleader, Wajin, stands frozen. When Jin turns his gaze on her, her bravado instantly evaporates. Dion pulls the coat off her face, hands trembling. In the span of a single minute, both guys are down. Jin notices her staring and after giving Wajin one last chilling look, walks back to his sister and apologizes for covering her like that. The apology only makes things more awkward, so he switches gears and suggests they grab snacks from her favorite shop. She stammers that it's fine, so he just nods and says they'll go home instead. Behind them, Wajin and her friend are left speechless. A second ago, this guy looked like a walking nightmare. Now he's gently guiding his sister home. As Dion leaves, she even gives them a little wave, which does absolutely nothing to help with their trauma. On the way back, Dion finally asks if he was the one who knocked those guys out. Jin casually confirms it, which only confuses her more. He doesn't act like a delinquent at all. She quietly explains that in Korea, staring people down like that can be seen as rude and might start trouble. Jin admits it's similar where he comes from. Locking eyes can be dangerous depending on who you're dealing with. When she asks why he stared at them anyway, he answers simply. He saw she was scared, so he stepped in to protect his sister. Dion blushes, lowering her head. The silence that follows is awkward, but softer now, like she's slowly realizing this stranger is really her brother. At home, Grandpa is a ball of nervous energy, fussing around the living room. He tries to make Jin sit and relax with some fruit, but Jin insists on doing the dishes. Eventually, the old man lets him. As Jin calmly scrubs plates, Grandpa asks if the food was okay, admitting he's no gourmet chef. Jin, still relaxed, tells him every meal has been great. The relief on the old man's face is almost comically obvious. You'd think Jin just defused a bomb instead of complimenting dinner. Grandpa turns to Dion and checks if she liked the food too. She nods. Then he asks Jin how his first day at school went and whether anything interesting happened. Jin tenses for a second. Dion also stiffens, remembering the fights, threats, and drama. After a quiet pause, Jin simply says it was a good day. Grandpa beams. For him, that's all he needs to hear. That night, everyone goes to bed, but Jin lies awake. His thoughts circle back to when Grandpa first saw him alive again. The shock, the tears, the gratitude. Little by little, the ice around his heart has started to melt in this small apartment. His mind drifts further, back to the plane. He remembers the screaming passengers, the oxygen masks dropping from the ceiling, his parents frantically trying to secure his mask before their own. The panic, the weightless feeling as the plane began to fall. He jolts awake, heart racing, chest heaving. Morning light leaks through the curtains. Just a nightmare, but one that never really leaves. Jin hears clattering from the living room and steps out to find Dion preparing breakfast. Grandpa is nowhere in sight. She explains he left before dawn for work. He used his time off just to be there when Jin came home, but now his leave is over. She finishes buttoning her uniform, tells Jin breakfast is on the table, and reminds him to eat before heading out. Then she rushes off, leaving him alone with a neatly set meal and a warmth he doesn't quite know how to handle. Back at school, trouble is brewing again. Wajin sits with her friend, the same girl who was with her during yesterday's beating. Word has reached them. The terrifying new transfer student is actually Dion's brother. The friend's face drains of color as she remembers how easily he knocked out two of their guys. Wajin keeps asking what happened, but the girl is too scared to speak at first. Finally, the narrator takes pity on us and gives her a nickname. From now on, we're calling her Chicken Shake, because she's literally shaking like a fast food combo. Wajin presses her until Chicken Shake blurts out that they should stop messing with Dion altogether. That glare Jin gave her is still burned into her soul. She tries to convince herself it'll all be fine, though. After all, Wajin and her brother are the top dogs of the school. Everyone bows to them, right? A little later, Dion walks through the hallway and, as usual, gets smacked on the back of the head. She turns to find Wajin and Chicken Shake standing there like a bad omen. Dion nervously asks what they want this time. Wajin tells her to follow. When Dion questions where they're going, the blonde snaps, telling her to shut up and move unless she wants another beating. She sneers that having a brother won't change anything. They drag her to the school's recycling area, a quiet corner perfect for doing awful things without teachers noticing. There, Wajin starts kicking her around, ordering Dion to keep her head down. Barely able to breathe, Dion asks why she's even being hit. That's when Wajin brings up Jin. She tells Dion to make sure her brother stops acting tough, because they're not going to let his little stunt slide. Dion realizes with horror that they're planning to target him now. Wajin confirms it. The two guys Jin humiliated, they're connected to her brother. Jin messed with their crew, and nobody walks away from that easily. It's the classic bully logic. We started it, so now we're the real victims. Dion's face goes pale. She shouts at them, demanding to know what they're planning to do to her brother. Instead of answering, Wajin slaps her so hard it leaves a bruise on her cheek. The sting of the hit is nothing compared to the fear ripping through her chest. She can handle being hurt, but the thought of Jin getting ambushed because of her is unbearable. She clenches her fists, steels herself, and suddenly bolts from the recycling area, sprinting away while Wajin and Chicken Shake shout after her. The scene shifts back to third-year Class 2. The air feels different, heavy, tense. Even the small-time bullies from yesterday sit unusually quiet. Everyone knows why. The school's real top dog, the biggest bully of all, strides into the room with his entourage behind him. Among them are the two guys Jin wrecked yesterday, walking in like backup dancers to their boss's entrance. Jin remains seated, calm and expressionless, like he's seen this scene 1,000 times before. Young Chan looks like he wants to sink into the floor. Right on cue, the classroom door slams open. Dion stumbles in, panting hard, dirt smeared on her uniform, her cheeks swollen and red. She looks like she ran straight from the beating to get here. Jin shoots to his feet. His eyes widen as he takes in her condition. Filthy uniform, bruised face, shaking shoulders. The boss bully starts talking, mocking how worried Dion is about her brother. He compares her to his own sister, Wajin, who constantly nags him to handle things for her. Wajin steps forward, smirking, and says she'll only feel satisfied once her brother puts Jin in his place. Jin barely hears them. His focus is locked on Dion, on the pain written all over her face. And in that moment, it's clear. This isn't just school drama anymore. This is a declaration of war. Early morning sunlight spills into the classroom as students shuffle in, still half asleep. But at the center of the room, chaos. Young Chan is getting his head used as a target range. Two rowdy punks take turns flicking erasers at him like they're trying out for the national dodgeball team. Jae-hong lands a direct hit and brags loudly, chest puffed out like he just won MVP. Hack Jin gets jealous and demands a nearby kid hand over his eraser. The timid student gives it up instantly. Hack Jin winds up his arm, launches the eraser, and nails Young Chan perfectly. He starts celebrating like he hit a three-pointer at the buzzer. But Jae-hong claims it was just luck. Soon they're competing over who can humiliate Young Chan better. Hack Jin is ready for round 2. Jae-hong swings dramatically and hurls the next eraser, but it smacks into Jin's waist instead. The room goes quiet. The eraser drops to the floor. Jin calmly walks to his seat beside Young Chan, like he's not even slightly bothered. Jae-hong and Hack Jin are irritated. They finally get a hit, and this guy ruins it by existing. Hack Jin gets up, ready to teach Jin a lesson, and the redhead instantly tags along. Meanwhile, Jin just places his bag on the desk and asks Young Chan if he's okay. The poor kid insists he's fine, but his pale face says otherwise. Trying to change the subject, Young Chan shyly asks if Jin wants to hang out after school. Jin tells him he can't. He has to walk home with his sister. That surprises him. Young Chan asks if she transferred too. Jin shakes his head. She's been here for a while. What's her name? Young Chan asks. Dion. Young Chan freezes, eyes widening. Jin immediately notices the shift. He asks if his friend knows her. After a hesitant pause, Young Chan admits Dion hasn't had an easy time lately. He explains she was popular in middle school, smart, pretty, kind. So a lot of guys liked her. But that only made one girl furious, Wajin. Jealous and petty, she started targeting Dion relentlessly. Jin asks why no one stepped in. Young Chan sighs. Wajin's older brother, Jisoo-kim, is one of the school's top delinquents. People don't mess with anyone connected to him. Dion ended up in the same homeroom as Wajin, and it's gotten so bad that students are amazed she still attends school every day. Jin pieces it together. She's being bullied simply because someone liked her. That's it. That's the whole reason. Young Chan clarifies it further. Wajin just wanted an excuse. Any excuse. The scene shifts into a soft flashback. Grandpa sits with the siblings and asks how school is going. Dion, younger and smiling brightly, insists everything is wonderful. She hides every bruise, every cruel moment, every tear, just so Grandpa won't worry. He praises her, proud of her grades and reputation. Back in the present, Jin realizes she's been carrying all that pain alone. Suddenly, the classroom door slams open. One of the local bullies barges in, followed by the entire entourage. Hack Jin's eyes widen. They're from another grade, and definitely above his pay grade. At the front of the pack stands Jisoo-kim, the school's top dog. He announces he's here to take care of business. Hack Jin instantly backs down. This is way beyond him. Jisoo's lackey points directly at Jin. When Jisoo realizes this skinny transfer kid is the one who beat up his underlings, his face twists with anger. He dismisses the lackey with a shove and crooks his finger at Jin, motioning him to step forward. Jin rises instantly. The whole class freezes. Even Jae-hong and Hack Jin have no idea what Jin did to make Jisoo furious. Jin calmly asks if Jisoo is really the big shot around here. Bold move. Most people don't talk like that unless they're trying to speed run a hospital visit. Jisoo sneers, amused that Jin took this long to realize who he's dealing with. He orders his lackey to handle things. The lackey looks terrified, but moves forward anyway. Before anything happens, the door slams open again. Dion rushes into the classroom, panting, face bruised, uniform dirty. She looks like she sprinted the whole way while escaping a beating. Jin stiffens. His chest tightens as he sees her shaken and hurt. She apologizes through tears, blaming herself for dragging him into trouble. Wajin scoffs, mocking her for being dramatic. But Jin steps in front of his sister and tells her she has nothing to apologize for. And then he snaps. Before the lackey can even lift a hand, Jin slaps him with such force the boy hits the floor and doesn't get up. The room erupts in gasps. Everyone knows how hard Jin hits, and now they're terrified. Another thug lunges at him. Jin effortlessly pushes his punch aside, spots the exposed throat, and strikes. The thug drops, coughing and choking. The third lackey tries to get behind him. Jin whips around and crushes his ribs with a single blow. He crumples instantly. Jisoo's confidence drains as he watches his men get folded like cheap chairs. Even the everyday bullies, the beta ones, stand frozen. Wajin and Chicken Shake, they look like they just saw a ghost. Jin turns toward Jisoo, eyes sharp, voice cold. He tells him that his sister has suffered because of their crew, and he's not letting it continue for another second. The classroom is silent because everyone knows what comes next. Jisoo finally breaks the tense silence with a sneer, admitting Jin isn't a pushover after all. He gives a smug half-smile, as if he still thinks he's in control, and then lashes out with a high kick aimed straight at Jin's face. But Jin blocks it with effortless precision. Jisoo's eyes widen. He wasn't ready for that. He tries again with the other leg, faster, harder, but Jin catches that too. Then he pulls Jisoo in and slams a fist into his face. Blood sprays as the school's top dog hits the ground like a rag doll, stunned and dizzy. Before Jisoo can recover, Jin drives a brutal kick across his cheek. More blood splatters as the so-called king of the school collapses in front of the entire class, beaten, gasping, humiliated. Everyone freezes. The beta bullies stare wide-eyed. They can't believe the top dog just got taken apart in seconds. The girls are horrified, especially Wajin, who suddenly realizes Jin might be a much bigger monster than she ever imagined. Turns out karma hits harder when it has good aim. Jin turns toward Wajin. She stiffens, terrified he's going to slap her into the next semester. But before he gets close, Dion rushes forward, begging him to stop. She insists she's fine. She doesn't want things to get worse. Jin reminds her that Wajin and her crew have been bullying her for a long time, yesterday included. Dion's eyes drop as she realizes he figured everything out, all the pain she tried so hard to hide. She forces a shaky smile and tells him she's okay. Tells him he doesn't need to fight anymore. After a moment, Jin softens. He nods, agreeing to drop it, for now, and offers to walk her to class. Behind them, whispers erupt instantly. Did Jin actually beat Jisoo? Is this real? Is he even human? Even the beta bullies mutter among themselves, relieved they didn't pick a fight with him earlier. Wajin sits trembling, unable to process the humiliation. As Jin and Dion walk down the hallway, she marvels at how skilled he is at fighting. Then she apologizes again, blaming herself for dragging him into this mess. Confused, Jin asks why she'd apologize. She explains she feels responsible. Yesterday's fight, today's ambush, all of it. But Jin smiles. He tells her she doesn't need to feel guilty. Families protect each other. Back where he came from, people only looked out for themselves, unless their family was on the line. Then suddenly everything changed. The scene shifts into his memory, a chaotic battlefield. Smoke fills the air. Explosions thunder. Gunfire lights up the sky. Amid the carnage, a much younger Jin crouches behind debris. Across the battlefield, He spots an enemy soldier shielding his little daughter from a gunman. Even in war, even surrounded by death, that man risked everything for family. That moment carved itself into Jin's soul, an image of what love looks like when everything else burns away. Back in the present, Dion quietly points out that Jin barely remembers her. Why go so far? Jin nods. It's true, he doesn't have memories of her. But he says that doesn't change the fact they're family. Dion stops for a moment, overwhelmed. Her cheeks flush. She quickly waves goodbye when they reach her homeroom and disappears inside. Jin watches her go with a small smile. Back in his own classroom, Jin is suddenly the star of the show, and he hates every second of it. The beta bullies flock around him, showering him with admiration, asking what kind of training he had overseas. They hype him up like he's the school's new action hero. Even young Chan jumps in, telling him he was actually kind of awesome. Jin tries to hide it, but a tiny smile pokes through. Meanwhile, the defeated bullies sit elsewhere in bruised silence. Jisoo fumes as he holds ice to his face. He mutters that Jin fights differently, not like some street kid, but like someone who's been through far worse. His sister tries to cheer him up, claiming Jin only won because they were caught off guard. Maybe they should go after him later? The guys just stare at her. They learned yesterday, Jin is not a later problem. Jin is a run the other direction immediately problem. Wajin insists he's just one guy, and they shouldn't let him embarrass them like this. Jisoo snaps. If she wants revenge so badly, she can fight him herself. She fires back, furious he's taking his frustration out on her. But truth hurts, and she knows he's only mad because everything she said was right. She storms out, tears pricking her eyes. Chicken Shake rushes after her as Wajin slams into the classroom like a storm cloud. She spots Dion sitting quietly and glares at her. Oh, must be nice having a big brother now, she spits. Look at you, walking around without a care, knowing he'll come protect you. Dion stays silent. Not a word, not a reaction. That makes Wajin even angrier. She thinks Dion is ignoring her just because she has backup now. She leans in close and growls. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because your brother showed up. And with that, the war isn't over, it's just changing shape. Dusk settles over the city, and the streets are full of students heading home. Among the crowd, Dion walks, looking deep in thought. Her mind drifts back to the day her brother stepped in to defend her from those thugs, boldly declaring that they were a family. It's the first time she's felt safe in a while. Maybe now she can finally go to school without the fear of being bullied. But the memories of her miserable days under Huijin's rule still linger. She remembers how she obeyed every command, how her attempts to speak up were always met with a slap. Yeah, not the kind of sibling support you dream about. Suddenly, her brother appears behind her, snapping her out of her thoughts. He asks if something's bothering her. Dion jumps, startled by his voice. She apologizes quickly, explaining she didn't hear him. She asks if he's been waiting for her, and he nods. He doesn't know his way around yet. They walk side by side, chatting about grabbing groceries for Grandpa, who's always starving after a long day. But as they walk, there's a presence behind them. Rowdy, furious, and clearly simmering, watches their every step. She's plotting, biding her time for the perfect moment to shatter Dion's peace. Yeah, Rowdy's definitely got a revenge is best served cold vibe. Later in the store, Dion struggles with the grocery choices, her mind still in a haze. Meanwhile, people all around the store can't seem to take their eyes off her brother. Dion's noticed before that he's popular. But here, outside of school, he's a magnet for attention. Out of curiosity, she asks him if he's ever had a girlfriend, especially back when he was overseas. The question catches him off guard. He stares at her like she just asked if he's ever eaten a pizza. Come on, bro. A girlfriend is like basic stuff. He shrugs and says he hasn't had one, prompting Dion to joke that maybe he should get one, seeing as girls flock to him like moths to a flame. He pauses, then says he's been too busy to think about relationships. Dion gets it. He's adjusting to a whole new life here. Then, he turns the question on her. Has she ever had a boyfriend? She's taken aback, stumbling over the answer, saying she hasn't either. When asked why, she gives the same excuse: she's been busy. Yes, busy. And definitely not avoiding the drama that comes with all that. Back home, Grandpa gifts her brother a brand new Samsung Galaxy phone. He's disappointed, expecting an iPhone. Grandpa, with a wink, tells him iPhones have terrible battery life, and besides, all the kids have them. So it's better to stand out with a Samsung. Grandpa's low-key, roasting the entire iPhone fan club. Dion, on the other hand, is thrilled. It's the latest Galaxy model, and she's been eyeing it for herself. As her brother fiddles with it, Grandpa reveals he's already saved Dion's and his own numbers. Dion is surprised, considering she usually handles that stuff. Grandpa chuckles, explaining that he had help from a salesperson, and adds, "I've heard how much you younger folks like unboxing things yourselves." Old man's got a point. We all love tearing into new gadgets. Later that night, Dion watches her brother get lost in his new phone. He's warming up to the Galaxy and begins to wonder if maybe it's actually better than the iPhone. Meanwhile, Major Kong, working at his desk, picks up his phone to see that Jin has switched numbers. The Major is livid, remembering how he gave Jin the most expensive iPhone they had. Oh, the betrayal. The next morning, Dion rushes out the door, barely on time. Her brother calls after her, asking why she's in such a hurry, but she brushes him off, telling him dinner is already set. As she sprints down the street, a smile spreads across her face. She's happy she took the time to make Grandpa's favorite soup. Her good mood is short-lived when a sharp kick to her ribs sends her crashing to the ground. 3 girls in hoodies and masks stand over her. The leader accuses her of nearly breaking her ankle, looking for any excuse to cause trouble. You know it's never a good day when you're dealing with mass troublemakers. Dion quickly apologizes, but the leader slaps her across the face, demanding she apologize like a dog. One of the other girls suggests a karaoke session to blow off steam, and before Dion knows it, she's being dragged to a rundown karaoke bar. Karaoke? More like a one-way ticket to misery. In the dingy karaoke room, the manager is on edge. All he's heard from the inside is shouting, and he's starting to think he might regret letting these girls in. When he opens the door, Dion is sprawled on the floor, barely conscious, but trying to gather her things. The manager, horrified, considers calling an ambulance, but Dion refuses, stumbling out of the room. That's one way to kill the karaoke vibe. Back at school, the teacher notices Dion's absence. No one believes she'd skip without saying something. Meanwhile, Hwa Jin Kim is practically glowing, smirking in the background. She's got that "I'm totally innocent" vibe. Chicken Shake nervously plays along with Hwa Jin, pretending like they have nothing to do with Dion's disappearance. The school bell rings, signaling the end of the day, and her brother waits outside, but Dion is nowhere in sight. As the crowd thins out, he pulls out his phone, calling her again. Back home, her phone rings endlessly, but she lets it go to voicemail. Finally, he arrives at her door, his eyes immediately landing on her sneakers sitting by the doorstep. He knocks gently, relieved when she answers. Dion apologizes for missing his call, claiming she must have been asleep. Jin notices something off in her voice and asks if he can come in. She quickly lies, saying she's in bed because she's not feeling well. Worry creeps into his voice as he asks if it's something serious, but she assures him it's just a slight fever. Just as he's about to leave to grab some medicine, he notices blood stains on her sneakers. Blood stains on sneakers. Not a good sign, buddy. It doesn't take long for Jin to realize something's wrong. Blood on her shoes is never a casual thing. As Jin finishes bandaging his sister's face, he can tell she's in pain. Dion winces at every touch, but she insists she's fine, brushing off the severity of her injuries. Jin's eyes narrow. He knows better. The bruises are too severe for a simple accident. He asks again if she wants to see a doctor, but Dion hesitates, her voice soft as she shakes her head. There's that stubborn pride of hers again. Her hesitation makes sense, though. If she goes to a hospital, they'll find out the bruises aren't from a fall, and that could lead to questions she's not ready to answer. The scene shifts, and we're taken back to Dion's painful past. The principal's office is tense, filled with accusations and denials. Dion, with tear-filled eyes, explains how Ijin beat her, but Ijin denies it, cold and confident. The police are involved, but even they seem unsure. Guess it's hard to believe a bullied girl when the bullies got all the charm in the world. Ijin smirks, asking how Dion could accuse her when she didn't even see her face. The principal, unsure, presses Dion about it, but she's adamant. It was Ijin, even though the face was covered. The room heats up when Ijin's mother bursts in, furious. She accuses Dion of slandering her daughter and treating her like a criminal. The principal tries to calm her down, but the mother's not having it. Meanwhile, Ijin stands by, silent, as the whole situation unravels. Somehow, no one's surprised that Ijin's mother's drama levels are off the charts. Despite Dion's certainty, no one believes her. The police are skeptical, and Ijin's mother demands an apology. Dion, heartbroken, stands her ground, but that doesn't stop Ijin from walking away, unpunished. The past lingers in Dion's mind. It's like she's stuck in the same trap, unable to speak up without risking everything, especially her grandfather, who's always been there for her. Back in the present, Jin notices her tense expression and places his hand on her forehead. "Are you really okay?" he asks, his voice soft but concerned. Dion nods weakly. He points out that while her bones aren't broken, the bruises are severe and will hurt for days. He's surprisingly good at this. The bandages are perfectly placed. But Dion's mind drifts, worried about their grandfather. She doesn't want him to find out, especially with his weak heart. Jin, now fully aware, promises he'll keep it from Grandpa, telling her to rest. Jin's got this, even if he won't admit it. As Jin leaves, Dion calls out, smiling faintly, thanking him. His smile mirrors hers, warm and comforting. But as soon as he's gone, her smile fades. She wonders if she made the right choice by keeping the truth from him. After all, they're just teenagers, right? If only Jin knew how much more than that he really is. Later, at a club, the scene shifts. The music thumps, the energy high, and in the middle of it all stands Kim, the boss bully, grinding his teeth as he drinks with his crew. They're discussing Jin, plotting how they'll deal with him. One thug pipes up, reminding everyone their downfall came from underestimating Jin. He's right, they can't let him slide. It's always the underdogs who turn the tables. Huh? But Gu isn't fooled. He knows taking Jin down won't be easy. After all, they've all seen what he's capable of. He puts down his drink and reluctantly agrees to their plan. But we all know Jin's got something up his sleeve. Just as they begin to scheme, Gu's phone rings. It's his sister, yelling at him for sitting around at the club instead of handling business. She reveals that she's upset about Jin's actions today, and they can't let the siblings get away with it. Sibling rivalry at its finest. Gu nods, proud of his sister for backing him up. He plans their next move against Jin. But just then, the door opens, and Jin walks in, calm and composed. The bullies freeze. Gu feels a sense of relief. He doesn't have to hunt Jin down, after all. But Jin's not here to chat. He's here to settle things. Without hesitation, he grabs one of the lackeys by the face and slams him into the table. Another thug charges, but Jin's quick. One punch, and the guy's ribs are shattered. The rest of the crew rushes him, but Jin moves like a pro. He kicks one down effortlessly, slams another against the table with a brutal thud, and sends one flying across the room with a vicious throw. If you thought this was going to be easy for them, think again. One thug grabs a bottle, swinging it at Jin, but he casually knocks it out of the air, following up with a crushing blow to the guy's face. Another tries to sneak up behind him, but Jin twists his arm and delivers a slap so hard it sends the thug reeling. The last lackey is grabbed by the face, and Jin smashes his nose into his knee with a sickening crunch. I guess you could say Jin's got the right punch for the job. With all the thugs down, Gu's left speechless, unable to comprehend the brutal turn of events. His sister's still on the phone, asking what's going on. She's heard the chaos. Jin turns to Gu with a calm voice, making him shiver. It's almost poetic. They try to gang up on Jin, but end up getting wiped out in seconds. He fights like a pro, effortlessly taking them all down. Meanwhile, Jin turns to Gasu, still calm as ever, asking, What did my sister ever do to you? Gisu plays dumb, but his hand is already reaching for a glass. In a flash, he hurls it at Jin, but Jin steps back, letting it shatter against the wall. Gisu really thought that would work? Not missing a beat, Gisu grabs a bottle and swings it at Jin. Again, Jin sidesteps, then knocks the bottle from his hand. With lightning speed, he counters with a punch, sending the bottle's contents splattering everywhere. Gisu, desperate, swings again, but Jin responds with a brutal smack to his face, leaving him gasping for air. Jin's still cool, not even sweating. This guy's got the kind of calm only a true warrior can pull off. Jin's patience wears thin. He asks Gisu what twisted pleasure he gets from harassing a helpless girl. Gisu, in a last-ditch effort, grabs another bottle, shattering it and aiming the sharp pieces at Jin. But Jin's unbothered. With a single slap, he knocks Gisu's hand away, causing the broken bottle to drop. Then, in one swift motion, he grabs Gisu by the throat, squeezing until Gisu struggles to breathe. His legs trip over themselves as he desperately tries to escape, but Jin drives him to the ground with a force that leaves no room for resistance. Gisu's living out every bully's worst nightmare right now. With Gisu gasping for air, Jin leans in, cold and calculating. He asks what he should do with him. Gisu, barely hanging on to consciousness, can't muster a response. Jin delivers his final warning, tightening his grip on Gisu's throat. He tells him to stay away from his sister, and to keep Ijin, Gisu's sister, in check. If he hears even a rumor about them bothering Dion again, Jin will finish what he started. Talk about a brother who's got your back. Gisu, now desperate, apologizes profusely as he struggles, but Jin finally lets go, leaving him coughing violently, gasping for air. Jin walks away without a second glance, his purpose fulfilled. The club staff exchange nervous glances, unsure of what they just witnessed. Meanwhile, Ijin and Chicken Shake stroll down the street, and Ijin can't shake the bad feeling in her gut. She starts to worry about her brother, and just as they reach the club, they hear footsteps. Jin walks past them, completely unfazed by their presence. Ijin calls out, trying to play cool, but Jin doesn't slow down. Talk about a one-man wrecking crew. Huh? Ijin, now visibly shaken, backs away, tripping and landing hard on her butt. She rubs her sore shoulder as Jin continues his calm walk, checking his phone. It's Grandpa calling. After a brief conversation, Jin turns around and heads home, leaving Ijin and Chicken Shake confused about his intentions. Something tells me Jin's always 3 steps ahead. Inside the club, Ijin storms in, but the scene is chaos. Her brother and his lackeys are battered and bruised. She immediately starts shouting, demanding to know how they were beaten by Jin again. Exhausted, her brother cuts her off, telling her to stay away from Dion. Ijin, still clueless, pushes back, but her brother, now fully frustrated, snaps. He warns her, eyes blazing with anger, to leave Dion alone. These siblings have a seriously messed up way of showing love. Ijin doesn't back down, shouting at him, questioning why he's so afraid of Jin. That's when her brother loses it. He snarls that if she doesn't stay away from Dion, he'll personally make sure she regrets it. Yeah, things just escalated. Ijin is shaken by his outburst, and tears start to form in her eyes. Meanwhile, Jin and Grandpa are sitting quietly on a park bench. Grandpa apologizes for pulling Jin away from his friends, but Jin brushes it off. Then, Grandpa grows somber, mentioning that Dion's injuries are serious, but she refuses to go to the hospital. Jin confirms that he treated her injuries. Grandpa reflects on how tough it's been raising Dion on his own, always working hard to make ends meet, and how grateful he is that she's come this far. Grandpa's got a heart of gold. He continues, telling Jin that after the plane crash took everything from him, Dion was the only thing that kept him going. It breaks his heart to see her hurt and not tell him the real reason. He wonders if she thinks he's too old to understand. The weight of life's battles is heavier when you carry them alone. Jin reassures him, telling Grandpa to stop overthinking. It's clear how much he loves Dion, and he's sure Dion loves him just as much. He promises to look out for her at school. Grandpa, relieved, smiles for the first time in a while. Looks like Jin's got the old man's back, just like he's got Dion's. The scene shifts to the OMN Medical Examination Center, where Gasu's injuries have finally been patched up, but the real pain is coming from his father. The man is livid, giving his son an earful, making it clear that Gasu's injuries were well earned. "You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes," he growls. Ouch, that's a brutal dad move. His mother, however, isn't having it. She erupts in outrage, demanding that her husband focus on the one who did this to their son. She points out that the same person who beat up Gasu also fractured Hua Jin's arm, shifting the blame onto Jin, even though everyone knows Hua Jin tripped and injured herself. The blame game, classic move. But who's buying it? After a tense moment, Gasu finally asks his sister why she had to tell their parents the truth. He's humiliated. "Now everyone will think I ran crying to them like a whiny brat," he says. His sister asks what else she was supposed to do. Hide the fact that her brother was in the hospital and her arm was broken? Gasu's anger flares, demanding to know if Jin was the one who caused her arm to break. She doesn't admit it was an accident, but places the blame on Jin, shifting the narrative yet again. At this point, it's clear where she's learned to spin a story. She stands up, telling him to focus on getting better while she takes care of the rest. Meanwhile, the parents continue their argument. Mrs. Kim wants action now, not waiting for the school to handle it. She's frustrated that they'll likely just settle with a suspension or expulsion, and she insists on involving Mr. Cha, someone she's known for years. Talk about calling in the big guns. Back at the rundown spot where Mr. Cha's crew is waiting, two goons grumble about being dragged into this teenage drama. The boss himself doesn't look too thrilled either, but as he smokes his cigarette, he prepares for the job ahead. You can almost hear him thinking, "What's next, babysitting?" The scene flashes to a luxury Mercedes speeding down the road. Inside, Mr. Cha listens to Mrs. Kim rant about her kid's injuries, demanding he take action. He's clearly frustrated, but when he finally hangs up, he's fuming. Mafia boss problems. Meanwhile, Jin's sitting at home, thinking over his encounter with Gasu, wondering if they'll really let it slide. His thoughts are interrupted by the doorbell. He hears Grandpa arguing with someone at the door, and soon it's revealed that a group of intimidating men is there to speak with Jin. Grandpa is concerned, but Jin assures him it's nothing serious. "I got this," says Jin with his signature smile. The goons take Jin to an abandoned construction site, where they report to their boss. The boss, uninterested in wasting time, gives the order to proceed. He's not exactly thrilled about dealing with a teenager, but a job's a job. Seriously, does this guy even want to be here? As the goons approach Jin with iron bats in hand, they don't know what's about to hit them. With ninja-like speed, Jin grabs one of the lackey's arms and slams his shoulder into the guy's face with brutal precision. Jin's clearly not here to make friends. The boss watches wide-eyed as Jin effortlessly dodges a bat swing, grabs it midair, and delivers a devastating punch to the lackey's chin, knocking him down. The mafia boss is beginning to realize that this kid is no ordinary teenager. Jin sidesteps another punch, blocking one with ease, and dodges all the rest, making it look like a walk in the park. At this rate, Jin's gonna run the whole mafia before lunchtime. The boss, now genuinely curious, asks Jin who he really is. Jin just smiles, replying, "Just a high school student." "Yeah, sure, and I'm a professional wrestler." The fight continues with a flurry of punches and dodges. Jin lands a blow straight to the mafia boss's face, leaving the man fuming. He's impressed, sure, but mostly frustrated at being beaten by a kid. Guess even mafia bosses have their off days. After the beating, the mafia boss can't help but grin. He's impressed with Jin's skills. "The Kim family really messed with the wrong person," he mutters. Yeah, no kidding. The scene transitions to the National Assembly office, where Mr. and Mrs. Kim are anxiously waiting for an update from Mr. Cha. The phone finally rings, and to their shock, Mr. Cha apologizes, saying he's the one who should be sorry, because their children have tangled with the wrong person. Cue the dramatic music. Mrs. Kim is livid, demanding to know how their kids managed to anger the one person who could take down a mafia boss. Mr. Kim, stunned, tries to process the news. This family's getting way more than they bargained for. The office door suddenly rattles, and to everyone's shock, it bursts open to reveal Jin standing there, cool as ever, with unconscious bodyguards sprawled out behind him. Yeah, that's one way to make an entrance. Mrs. Kim is speechless. Mr. Kim looks like he's seen a ghost, and their daughter jumps out of her seat. Jin strolls into the room, the door slamming shut behind him. Guess the Kim family's about to learn exactly who they're dealing with. Mr. Cha, still on the phone, leans back in his chair, letting out a long, defeated sigh. He's still processing the fact that a high school kid beat him, and now he's stuck trying to figure out how to handle this mess. Talk about a hard pill to swallow. In the room, Hui-jin jumps up from her seat as Mrs. Kim starts yelling at Jin, demanding to know if he's the one who hurt her children. On the other side, Mr. Kim asks how Jin managed to get into his office. Meanwhile, Mrs. Kim seethes with frustration, upset that her husband isn't overreacting the way she wants him to. Classic power struggle between the parents. Jin shrugs casually, replying that he simply walked past the security guards. Mr. Kim is stunned. How did Jin beat Mr. Cha, get past all the guards, and even find out where they live? This kid's practically a ghost. Mrs. Kim is about to dial the emergency hotline, threatening to report Jin for assault and breaking into the office. But she stops when Jin plays a recording of the karaoke room footage. The undeniable evidence of Hui-jin and her lackeys assaulting Dion hits the room like a ton of bricks. Mrs. Kim freezes, her jaw dropping. Yeah, you can't exactly call the cops on a kid after that footage comes to light. Hui-jin is speechless, her face turning pale as she watches the proof of her own cruelty unfold. The screams of Dion begging for forgiveness echo in the room. Mrs. Kim quickly hangs up the hotline, her confidence shattered. Hui-jin tries to defend herself, but Jin remains silent, standing his ground. The tables have definitely turned. Jin reveals that he also has footage of Gasu Kim, showing him and Hui-jin bullying, extorting, and physically hurting kids. He's got it all, and he's ready to show it. The room grows tense, Hui-jin shaking like a leaf, while Jin, unfazed, reminds them that he didn't start this. But he sure as hell finished it. Mr. Kim, finally processing the gravity of the situation, face bombs in frustration. Is this all because your kid hurt my daughter? He asks. Jin's answer is simple. As a brother, he'll do whatever it takes to protect his sister. The man can't argue with that logic. A protective brother is a force to be reckoned with. In an attempt to make amends, Mr. Kim offers to cover Dion's treatment and even provide a settlement. Jin doesn't want money, though. I want my sister to never have to see Gasu or Hui-jin again, he demands. Mr. Kim agrees, stating that he'll have his kids transferred or sent abroad. That's one way to fix things. As the conversation winds down, Hui-jin starts to cry, her tears falling in frustration. Jin prepares to leave, but Mr. Kim stops him. He wants Jin to delete all the videos. Jin shoots him a death glare, and Mr. Kim, sensing the weight of it, realizes just how dangerous this teenager really is. Mr. Kim may be a politician, but even he knows when to back off. Jin walks out, heading home to find Grandpa waiting for him anxiously. Dion's there, crying in the background. Jin reassures them, smiling softly, that no one hurt him. As they head inside, Grandpa points out that the people Jin encountered seemed dangerous, but Jin just brushes it off, telling him not to worry. Of course, Jin's got everything under control. Dion mentions she felt something was off about the people who came for Jin, but Jin tells her to focus on getting better. He hints that she'll never have to deal with the stairs again, a little cryptic comment that Dion doesn't fully understand yet. Looks like Jin's plans are coming together. The next day at school, Dion walks into her classroom, trying to avoid eye contact with Hui-jin. But the buzz around the room stops her in her tracks. Whispers about Hui-jin and Gasu leaving for study abroad fill the air. Dion's heart sinks. She realizes Jin must have known about this all along. Jin's got eyes everywhere, even when you think you're safe. Dion rushes out to find Jin, but when she does, words fail her. She just stands there, silent. Jin, with a soft smile, tells her, "See you later." His calm demeanor leaves her overwhelmed with emotion. As Jin walks away, Dion finally manages a quiet "see you later" before breaking down in tears. Sometimes, the weight of the world hits all at once. A little while later, we find ourselves in an apartment where a blonde girl asks her friends if it's true that Jin is moving overseas. One of the other girls confirms it, saying she was shocked when she first heard, but has no idea why they're leaving so suddenly, since Jin never mentioned anything about moving. The blonde girl then turns to Chicken Shake, who's sitting silently, lost in thought. Oh, Chicken Shake's about to get grilled. One of the girls snaps her out of her reverie, asking if she has nothing to say about it. Chicken Shake looks rattled, and the blonde girl presses her, asking if Jin is really moving. Timidly, Chicken Shake confirms the news, admitting that their teacher made the announcement earlier. The blonde girl then asks if she tried calling Jin directly. Chicken Shake admits she did, but Jin didn't pick up. Talk about crickets. As they all start to believe that Jin's move might actually be true, Chicken Shake nervously checks her phone, biting her nails in anxiety. The last message she got from Jin said that her mother would take care of Jin, and since then, Chicken Shake's been freaking out, wondering if this sudden move has something to do with him. Yeah, something tells me Chicken Shake's starting to connect the dots, and she's not liking what she's seeing. Just then, Jin arrives, looking absolutely furious. The girls are shocked to see her, and Jin plops down on the sofa, grumbling about barely managing to sneak out of the house. They ask her if it's true she's moving overseas, and Jin grabbed her head, saying it just happened, but she'll be back after 1 semester. Sure, that's what they all say when they're trying to escape their problems. We flash back to a conversation between Jin and her father, where he told her she's spending a semester abroad to sort things out. What he didn't say was that this was all part of a plan to keep those videos from going public. Interesting, but Jin's keeping that part quiet. Back in the present, the other girls tease her, joking that she's going to enjoy her vacation. The blonde girl sneers, clearly annoyed at their casual attitude. Another girl asks why the sudden move and if Gasu is going too. Jin simply says it's a family matter and refuses to go into details. Yeah, let's keep it vague, shall we? The conversation shifts to Dion and her brother, with the redhead asking if Gasu managed to beat Jin. Jin tries to brush it off, saying that Gasu's already handled it, but we all know the truth. Her brother and his lackey got completely destroyed by Jin, and she's definitely not ready to admit it. Annoyed and thinking about how pleased Dion will be to see her leave the school, Jin gets an idea. One last chance to mess with Dion. She asks her friends to help with her plan. Oh, here we go again. Chicken Shake is horrified, clearly uneasy about what Jin's plotting. But Jin insists she'll deal with Dion before she leaves. Her plan? Get Dion's grandpa fired from his job as a security guard. What kind of messed up revenge scheme is this? As Jin gets more cocky, Chicken Shake grows increasingly nervous. Then, just as Jin starts boasting about her plan, her face goes pale. Someone standing at the door, a figure cloaked in a hoodie with a mask over their face. It doesn't take long for Jin to recognize who it is. Oh, you know it's Jin when the plot twist hits like this. Jin, ever the smart aleck, asks her, "Who's Jin? How can you be so sure it's me when I'm wearing a mask?" He casually explains that he's just checking if everyone's having a good time, and he's pleased to see that everyone from the karaoke video is here. Talk about making an entrance. The girls freeze. Jin reminds them he's talking about the place where they filmed his sister being assaulted. Jin's face turns ashen as she realizes Jin was probably there the whole time, just waiting for the right moment to confront her. That moment? Yeah, it's here. Chicken Shake is visibly sweating, and the other girls sit in complete silence, knowing exactly what's coming. Jin starts to shut the door, asking why no one's singing. He thought everyone at this party loved loud music and shouting. And then, with a slam, the door shuts. Well, that's one way to leave them hanging. The scene shifts to the Kim family's hospital room. Mr. Kim is visibly annoyed, asking where Jin went. Her brother explains that she stepped out to say goodbye to her friends. Mr. Kim is frustrated, asking why she left when she was supposed to stay put until they had everything sorted out. Guess the drama's too much to handle in one room. Just then, a guy bursts in, turning on the TV and telling Mr. Kim to see what's happening on the screen. The footage of Jin's actions has gone viral. The entire Kim family watches in stunned silence as the reporter announces that dozens of violent videos are circulating, with more incidents likely unrecorded. The public is furious, and civic groups and politicians are demanding justice. Oh, the heat's on. Gisu starts to lose his composure, and the reporter adds that the nation is especially appalled by the fact that the culprits are the children of Mr. Kim, a second-term assembly member. Mr. Kim slumps in his chair, utterly defeated. Looks like the Kim family's political power is about to implode. Cut to Jin, who's being grilled by Mr. Cha. Mr. Cha demands to know why Jin went through with his plan when he had already agreed to leave things with the Kim family. Jin's mind flashes back to when he learned about the Kim family's deep political connections. He knew that things weren't going to go smoothly, so he did what he felt was necessary. Sometimes, you've got to make your own justice. Mr. Cha asks if Jin thinks the Kim family will just let him walk away, but Jin is confident. They're probably too busy with their own problems to worry about me right now. Sounds about right, Jin. Back on the news, the reporter continues to drop bombshells, revealing more about Mr. Kim's involvement in money laundering, bribery, and election fraud. The evidence is so damning that even his fellow party members are calling for an investigation. Looks like Mr. Kim's whole career is going up in smoke. Mr. Kim slumps down in his chair, utterly defeated, as the news sinks in. Meanwhile, Mr. Cha seems to suspect that Jin has dug up some dirt on him as well. He asks Jin who he really is, but Jin responds simply, "I'm just an average teenager." "Yeah, sure." Mr. Cha smirks, clearly aware that nothing about Jin is average. Guess he's figured that out the hard way.
And that's a wrap for today's recap, but trust me, there's so much more to come. The next chapters are packed with even more twists, and I can't wait to dive into them with you. Comment below if you want part 2. Your thoughts mean everything, and we'll make it happen together. If you're enjoying the journey, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. We're pouring our heart into every video, improving day by day to give you the best experience. Your support really helps, and a like makes sure this video reaches more people. Let's grow this community together. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.